The diplomatic vessel Handshake drifted in the void, dwarfed by the Valaxian flagship that loomed before it like a mountain of crystalline obsidian. Ambassador Lu Wei straightened his collar one final time before the transmission light blinked green. "We come in peace and mutual respect." Lu began, the practiced words feeling hollow as the towering figure on screen regarded him with compound eyes that reflected his image in fractured repetition. Overseer Therak's mandibles clicked in what the xenolinguists had identified as amusement. "Your species achieved in decades what takes others millennia. This makes you either miraculously gifted or dangerously unstable. The collective has observed 15,000 civilizations rise and fall. Our conclusion is the latter." Liu maintained his diplomatic smile. "Surely our achievements could benefit all species. We seek partnership, not." "Partnership implies equality," Therak interrupted, a limb gesturing dismissively. A holographic representation of Earth appeared between them, rotating slowly. "You are not our equals." With a casual flick, Therak's appendage passed through the hologram. Earth shattered into fragments of light that dissipated into nothingness, a deliberate demonstration. "The collective's terms are simple," Therak continued. "Surrender your military assets, accept our governance, contribute your genetic distinctiveness to our knowledge banks. Your reward will be continued existence." 10 light minutes away, in Earth's unified command, Admiral Alina Chen watched the exchange deteriorate. The room fell silent as the transmission abruptly terminated. The ambassador's vital signs flatlined simultaneously. "They'd destroyed the handshake," a technician reported unnecessarily. Chen's scared face remained impassive. The diagonal mark cutting across her right eye, a souvenir from the Europa colony wars, tightened as she narrowed her gaze. She'd seen this coming. They all had. The Xenocontact Assessment Bureau had predicted an 83% probability of hostile first contact 2 decades ago, triggering the most extensive secret military buildup in human history. "Admiral," her second-in-command said quietly, "Valaxian vessels have appeared near Proxima Centauri, Ta Ceti, and Epsilon Eridani colonies." Chen nodded once. "Send the Ghost Protocol authorization codes to all outposts. Tell them they have 6 hours." She moved to the central command table as the Valaxian ultimatum arrived on all frequencies. "Immediate surrender or face extinction. Open a direct channel," Chen ordered. "Just me." To their flagship. The communications officer hesitated. "Admiral," protocol states. "I know the protocol, Lieutenant. Open the channel." The massive view screen flickered to life, showing Overseer Therak surrounded by his war council. His compound eyes registered surprise at the human female addressing him directly. "I am Admiral Alina Chen, Supreme Commander of Human Forces." Her voice was steady, devoid of fear or anger. "We extended our hand in friendship. You have chosen to view our achievements as threats, our differences as dangers. Let history record that we offered peace." Chen's eyes met the alien's gaze unflinchingly. "You chose war. Now watch how it's done." She cut the transmission before Therak could respond. For 3 heartbeats, the command center remained silent. "They'll strike to demonstrate their power," Chen stated. "Begin evacuation sequence constellation-wide." Less than an hour later, nuclear fire bloomed across 3 human colony worlds. Billions of lives snuffed out in a calculated display of Valaxian might. The expected surrender transmission from Earth never came. Instead, across human-settled space, settlements went dark. Orbital platforms drifted, abandoned. Mining outposts stood empty. When Valaxian scout ships arrived at Earth, 12 hours later, they found a planet seemingly devoid of advanced technology. Primitive structures remained, but no sign of spacefaring civilization existed. It was as though humanity had simply vanished. In the Valaxian War Council, confusion reigned. "Impossible," Therak hissed. "A species cannot disappear." His intelligence director trembled slightly. "We've found evidence they destroyed their own technology before retreating. Perhaps they'd gone into hiding in their own system. Find them, Thera commanded. No species has ever escaped the collective's judgment. What the Valaxians couldn't understand was that humanity had never intended to escape, only to disappear long enough to prepare the battlefield on their own terms. The descent into Triton's core took 17 minutes. Admiral Chen watched ice-crusted elevator walls give way to increasingly dense metamaterials as they plunged deeper beneath the methane seas. The temperature dropped with each kilometer, not from failure of environmental systems, but by design. Cold slowed quantum decoherence in the processors that powered humanity's last hope. Neural activity spikes in cryo conditions, Dr. Singh had explained during the facility's construction. The algorithms think better in the cold. The elevator doors parted to reveal the cathedral, humanity's true command center. A cavernous space honeycombed with workstations, the ceiling a perfect dome of dark ice embedded with quantum processors that twinkled like an inverted night sky. Status report, Chen demanded, striding onto the central platform. Colonel Esparza, her operations director, manipulated holographic displays. Ghost protocol proceeding at 97% efficiency. Minor complications at the Galileo mining outpost. Reactor couldn't be properly masked. Acceptable losses, Chen replied, studying the massive strategic display. Across mapped space, blue lights representing human outposts winked out one by one as the evacuation completed. The Valaxians have occupied Earth orbit, Esparza continued. They're scanning for technological signatures. Chen permitted herself a thin smile. They won't find any. Operation Bedrock ensured that. For 20 years, humanity had been building its civilization with a self-destruct function embedded in every piece of advanced technology. Quantum resonance charges designed to reduce complex machinery to constituent elements without radiation or visible destruction. From orbit, Earth now appeared pre-industrial. Representatives from the remaining colonies filed into the cathedral's upper galleries, faces grim. They'd all lost people in the initial Valaxian strikes. Some had lost everything. I know what you're thinking. Chen addressed them without preamble. Why not strike back immediately? Why not show them our teeth? She gestured to a secondary display showing Valaxian military capacity. Their empire spans 17 systems. They've conquered 32 species over 6,000 years. They expect us to behave like all the others, to throw everything we have at them in a futile display of defiance. Chen activated a third display showing a neutron star surrounded by what appeared to be construction platforms. But we're not like the others. Operation Sanctuary has been active for 15 years. Every scientific breakthrough, every technological innovation too dangerous or revolutionary for public deployment, all of it funneled into this single project. Murmurs spread through the gallery. Most colonial representatives had only heard rumors of Sanctuary. We don't win this war through conventional engagement, Chen continued. We win it by becoming a ghost story, something the Valaxians can't find, can't predict, and eventually can't stop. Dr. Amara Singh stepped forward from the shadows, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays. Admiral, the Prometheus prototypes are ready for deployment. A side chamber opened, revealing a suspended vessel unlike any human ship designed before. Its hull seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it, edges blurring as if the craft existed partially out of phase with reality itself. The principles we discovered in the Mars ruins, Singh explained to the stunned representatives, allowed us to reconceptualize space-time interaction. This ship doesn't move through space. It convinces space to reconfigure around it. Chen approached the vessel, placing one hand against its liquid metal hull. The Valaxians destroyed 3 of our worlds thinking it would break us. Instead, it freed us from restraint. Every ethical barrier, every limitation we placed on ourselves regarding the Mars technology, all of it is now secondary to survival. She turned back to face the assembly. Phase 1 was disappearance. Phase 2 begins now. We become the hunters. In the upper gallery, a colonial minister from Proxima Centauri rose. My entire family died in their attack. How long before we make them pay? Chen's scared face hardened. We don't just make them pay, Minister. We dismantle their entire conception of power. The first ghost teams deploy in 72 hours. By the time the Valaxians realize what's happening, it will already be too late. As the meeting disbanded, Sane joined Chen at the observation window overlooking the prototype bay, where dozens more Prometheus vessels were under construction. You didn't tell them everything, Singh said quietly. Chen watched workers swarm over the ghostly ships. They don't need to know that what we found on Mars wasn't just technology. Singh nodded slowly. The Valaxians don't just fear us for our rapid advancement. They fear what we might become if we fully integrate with the precursor systems. With good reason, Chen replied, her eyes reflecting the liquid metal hulls below. Because we're about to prove them right. Helix 9 station hung in geosynchronous orbit above the Valaxian military colony of Vexmora, its spiral structure resembling a massive DNA strand frozen in vacuum. Inside, Research Director Zexar contemplated the failed containment field with mounting dread. The field collapsed at precisely 300 hours. He explained to the security team. By the time systems registered the breach, the prototype was gone. Security Chief Calvor's tertiary eyes narrowed in suspicion. Impossible. Our sensors would have detected any vessel approaching or departing. Nevertheless, Zexar gestured to the empty pedestal. Quantum Disruptor Prototype 7 is gone. 30 kilometers above them, Commander Kai Jackson and Breach Team Anubis drifted silently in their retrofitted Prometheus-class infiltrator. The stolen prototype, a device no larger than a human fist, sat secured in a containment case. Assets secured, Jackson subvocalized, the neural implant at the base of his skull transmitting to 5 other team members spread throughout the station. Sophia, what's our timeline? Lieutenant Sophia Reyes, her position marked in Jackson's augmented vision as a blue silhouette 2 decks below, responded directly to his auditory cortex. Security protocols updating in 57 seconds. We need to move. Jackson's neural implants processed the station's security grid. Since the team's insertion 3 hours ago, the adaptive AI had mapped every sensor, every patrol route, identifying the momentary blind spots that allowed his team to move undetected. Their thermoptic camouflage suits, inspired by Earth's cuttlefish, but enhanced with phase-shifting technology from the Mars ruins, rendered them invisible to Valaxian sensors. Beginning extraction, Jackson ordered. Convergence point beta in 5 minutes. As the team reassembled at their extraction point, the station's alarms remained silent. The Valaxians had no concept of what had just occurred. An entire Special Forces team had infiltrated their most secure facility, stolen their most advanced weapon prototype, and would be gone before they even realized an incursion had taken place. This was the 7th such raid in 14 days. On the Valaxian throne world of Apex Prime, Fleet Commander Vexnar faced the High Council, his posture rigid with barely contained fury. The humans are ghosts, he reported, projecting a strategic display showing affected installations pulsing red across collective space. They strike without warning, without detection, and disappear before we can respond. Supreme Overseer Therak leaned forward on his crystalline throne. Impossible. Their technological level was centuries behind ours. We confirmed this before engagement. With respect, Overseer, we confirmed what they wanted us to see. Vexnar activated a secondary display showing a magnified image of microscopic machines recovered from an attacked facility. Their operatives carry nanotechnology that interfaces directly with their nervous systems. They process information and react faster than our best combat units. The council chamber erupted in dismissive clicks and hisses. Absurd, declared Science Minister Zoltak. Such integration would destroy organic neural tissue. Nevertheless, Vexnar countered, echoing Zexar's earlier statement. It is happening. He switched the display to security footage showing nothing. Empty corridors where alarms had triggered, secure vaults that had been breached with no visible intruder. They hit 17 critical installations. Each time, they take one thing: a prototype, a data core, a specific component. Never the same target twice. They're gathering intelligence and technology, piece by piece. Tharuk's compound eyes reflected the empty security footage. How do you fight an enemy you cannot see? In the cathedral's strategic center, Admiral Chen reviewed Operation Ghostwalker's progress. Holographic displays showed the locations of 20 strike teams operating throughout Valaxian space, each equipped with Prometheus technology and neural enhancements. The Valaxians are increasing security at all major installations, Colonel Esparza reported. Doubling patrols, installing redundant sensor systems. Good, Chen replied, surprising her staff. Let them exhaust their resources chasing shadows. Every patrol they add, every sensor they install, it's all resources diverted from offensive operations. Dr. Singh entered, carrying a case identical to the one Jackson's team had retrieved. The quantum disruptor prototype is exactly what we needed. Combined with the other components, we can begin Phase 3 within 30 days. Chen nodded, studying the holographic representation of Valaxian space, where the mighty empire was slowly turning its attention inward, becoming consumed with finding an enemy that moved like mist through their most secure facilities. The Valaxians built their empire on visible strength, she observed. Massive ships, overwhelming firepower, technology that inspires awe and fear. They have no defense against an enemy that refuses to be seen, because they've never needed one. She zoomed the display to focus on the Valaxian throne world. They expected us to throw everything we had at them in a desperate counterattack. Instead, we're teaching them something humans have understood since our earliest conflicts. Chen's scared face reflected the blue light of the holographic display. True power lies not in what your enemy can see, but in what they cannot. Factory worker Nick Stoll's three-fingered hands trembled as he examined the tiny crystal that had appeared in his food dispenser. It glowed with a soft blue light, seemingly ordinary, until he pressed it against the data port on his wrist terminal, as the accompanying instructions suggested. His vision exploded with schematics, formulas, and technical specifications. Information the Valaxian overseers had always claimed his species was genetically incapable of comprehending. Yet he understood all of it instantly. The molecular stabilizer, he whispered, recognition dawning. It's not complex, it's deliberately overcomplicated. The design he maintained daily in the factory contained redundant systems and artificial barriers, engineered not for function, but to ensure dependency on Valaxian technicians. Nick Stoll locked his dwelling's door and connected the crystal to his home terminal. The schematic expanded, revealing a simpler, more efficient design, one his people could build and maintain themselves. Then came the second revelation, recorded footage from human archives showing beings of his species, Tellarites, serving as equals alongside other races in scientific endeavors, even commanding their own vessels. Not as servants, but as partners. They've been keeping us primitive, he realized, anger replacing fear. Deliberately. Intelligence operative Maya Wong sat in a shadowed corner of the Keldar Market Square, her augmented vision monitoring heat signatures through walls and barriers. 23 data crystals had been distributed throughout this district alone, their self-replicating information already spreading exponentially through the local network. Promethean virus deployment at 73% and climbing, she subvocalized to the orbital relay. Knowledge spread accelerating beyond projected models. Around her, Tellarites huddled in small groups, their normal subservient demeanor replaced by urgent, furtive conversations. Occasionally, one would glance toward the towering Valaxian administrative center with newfound resentment. Wong's neural interface flagged a security patrol approaching. She remained motionless as 4 Valaxian enforcers moved through the market, their enhanced sensors sweeping for anomalies. Her thermoptic camouflage adjusted automatically, matching ambient temperature and background patterns. Something's happening, the lead enforcer said, mandibles clicking nervously. Productivity is down 18% since morning shift. Worker compliance dropping. The patrol passed within centimeters of Wong, completely unaware of her presence. Wong switched her focus to the administrative center, where emergency transmissions had begun flowing to the planetary capital. The Promethean virus was already infiltrating those channels, inserting packets of restricted knowledge directly into their secure networks. Phase complete, she reported as marketplace screens momentarily flickered, displaying schematics of Tellarate-built ships before returning to approved content. Moving to extraction point. The revolution wouldn't happen today, but the seeds had been planted. Similar operations were unfolding simultaneously across 17 Valaxian tributary worlds. In the Valaxian Central Information Directorate, Senior Minister Kolak stared at the cascading failure reports with mounting horror. "It's spreading too fast to contain," his aide reported, frantically manipulating control systems. "Every countermeasure we deploy is anticipated and circumvented." On the main display, restricted databases flashed red as their security protocols collapsed. The information within, technological specifications, historical records, biological research, all flowing outward to species that had been intentionally kept ignorant for millennia. "Shut down the entire network," Kolak ordered desperately. "Impossible, Minister. Life support, defense systems, and orbital control are integrated. A complete shutdown would collapse all collective infrastructure." Kolak's compound eyes reflected the failing systems. "What is this weapon?" His aide's voice trembled. "It's not destroying our data, Minister. It's revealing it." In the cathedral's command center, Admiral Chen and Dr. Singh observed the information cascade spreading through Valaxian networks. "The Promethean virus is performing beyond projections," Singh reported. "Their encryption algorithms are falling faster than anticipated." "And the targeted knowledge distribution?" Chen asked. Singh displayed population centers across Valaxian space, color-coded by species. Each tributary species is receiving precisely the information they need. Historical records proving their deliberate subjugation. Technical specifications for technologies the Valaxians claimed they couldn't comprehend, and evidence of Valaxian biological tampering with their development. Chen nodded, satisfied. The collective maintained control not through superior technology alone, but through the strategic restriction of knowledge. Each species was convinced of their biological inferiority, their dependence on Valaxian guidance. She gestured to reports showing the first civil disturbances erupting on outer colony worlds. "We didn't just steal their weapons, Doctor. We're stealing their empire, piece by piece, using nothing but the truth they've buried for centuries." "The most devastating weapon," Singh observed quietly, "is sometimes just information in the right hands at the right time." Chen's scared face showed the ghost of a smile. "And the Valaxians are about to discover they've been hoarding weapons that will now be turned against them." "The Valaxians build with permanence in mind," Dr. Singh explained, tapping the massive hull plate suspended in Sanctuary's primary engineering bay. "Their materials are designed to last centuries, resistant to radiation, micrometeor impacts, and energy weapons." Admiral Chen ran her hand along the alien metal, feeling its strange warmth. "And our approach? Adaptation over permanence." Singh gestured toward a team of engineers disassembling a captured Valaxian shield generator. "Their technology is impressive but fundamentally static. They perfect a design, then replicate it endlessly with minimal iteration." The two women moved deeper into the facility, passing through security fields that analyzed their neural patterns. The innermost chamber of Sanctuary contained their most closely guarded secret, the Phantom prototype. Unlike the brutal angularity of Valaxian vessels, the Phantom's hull flowed like liquid metal frozen in mid-ripple. Its surface seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, creating an unsettling visual effect where the eye couldn't quite track its contours. "Is it ready?" Chen asked. Singh nodded. The integration tests exceeded expectations. The Phantom doesn't just incorporate Valaxian technology. It fundamentally reimagines it. She activated a holographic display showing the ship's internal structure. We've integrated quantum computation directly into the whole material itself. Every molecule is both structure and processor, allowing the entire vessel to function as a single computational entity. Chen studied the display. In practical terms, it thinks, Admiral, not like an AI system riding inside a conventional hull, but as a unified organism. The ship and its systems are a single conscious entity capable of making billions of tactical calculations per second, while simultaneously reconfiguring its internal structure to adapt to battlefield conditions. Chief Engineer Takashi joined them, his hands stained with the iridescent fluid used in the quantum integration process. The breakthrough came when we stopped trying to improve their technology and started thinking about why they designed it that way. He manipulated the hologram, highlighting the propulsion system. Valaxian FTL drives are built around absolute precision. They calculate a jump trajectory perfectly, then execute it with zero deviation. Efficient, but predictable, Chen noted. Exactly, Takashi smiled. So we introduced controlled quantum uncertainty into the equation. The Phantom doesn't jump to a single point in space-time. It simultaneously exists at multiple probability coordinates before resolving at the target location. Meaning? Meaning it's trackable only after it arrives, never during transit. And it can execute microjumps even in combat situations, something Valaxian warfare doctrine considers theoretically impossible. Singh added, they've spent millennia perfecting weapons to defeat enemies who fight as they do. We're changing the paradigm entirely. On the testing range at the system's edge, Chen watched through the observation port as the Phantom executed its maneuvers. The vessel rippled between positions, sometimes appearing to fragment into multiple ghostly images before resolving into solidity, its movements defying conventional physics. Neural integration is the final step, Singh explained. The ship needs a pilot whose mind can interface directly with its quantum processors. You mean like our Special Forces teams? Chen asked. Similar, but far more intensive. The neural implants our infiltration teams use allow enhanced processing and communication. This requires near-complete consciousness integration. Chen's expression hardened. The pilot becomes part of the ship. More precisely, Admiral, the ship and pilot become a new entity altogether. The precursor technology we found on Mars suggested this was possible, but we've taken it further than even they did. The Phantom completed its maneuvers, coming to rest alongside the observation platform. Its hull shifted, an entrance appearing where smooth metal had been moments before. How many? Chen asked quietly. 7 completed vessels, with 23 more in final assembly, Singh replied, each requiring a pilot willing to undergo the integration process. The volunteers. All survivors from the destroyed colonies. They've been in preparation since the war began. Chen nodded grimly. And once integrated, the process cannot be reversed, Admiral. Once melded with the Phantom, the pilot can never return to fully human existence. Chen watched the Phantom hovering silently beside them, its surface occasionally rippling with complex patterns. Show me the candidates. In a chamber deep within Sanctuary, 7 men and women stood in formation. Each wore a form-fitting interface suit covered with neural connection points. Their eyes held the 1,000-yard stare of those who had lost everything but found purpose in vengeance. You understand what's being asked of you, Chen addressed them directly. Commander Sarah Nakamura, formerly of the destroyed Europa colony, stepped forward. We do, Admiral. We've passed the compatibility tests and completed the preliminary neural adaptations. Chen studied each volunteer's face. This goes beyond normal combat duty. You won't just pilot these vessels. You'll become them. The process cannot be reversed. With respect, Admiral, Nakamura replied, her voice steady. None of us are looking for a way back. The Valaxians took our homes, our families. This gives us the means to ensure they never do it again. Chen nodded once. Begin the integration process. I want all 7 Phantoms operational within the week." As she turned to leave, Nakamura called after her, "Admiral, when do we take the fight to them?" Chen paused at the doorway. "Soon, Commander. The Valaxians are about to learn that everything they thought they knew about warfare is obsolete." Fleet Commander Vexnar stood on the command platform of the immutable doctrine, his carapace polished to a gleaming sheen for the impending victory. Before him, the strategic display showed over 2,000 Valaxian warships arranged in the Eternal Crescent formation, an unbreakable defense grid perfected over millennia of conquest. "The humans must attack here," he explained to his assembled captains, mandibles clicking with certainty. "Tharsis Prime builds 80% of our fleet. Basic strategic doctrine dictates they target our production capacity." A subordinate approached, bowing low. "Commander, long-range sensors detect anomalies at the system's edge." Vexinar's compound eyes narrowed. "Classification: unknown, Commander. The readings are inconsistent." Vexnar activated the main view screen. Static momentarily filled the display before resolving to show distant points of light, too small to be proper warships, approaching at impossible velocity. "Magnify," he ordered. The image zoomed to reveal vessels unlike any in known space. Their hulls rippled like liquid metal, constantly shifting configuration. Most disturbing, they seemed to flicker in and out of existence as they approached. 97 vessels, reported the sensor officer. Mass readings fluctuating. Energy signatures unstable. Vexnar felt a momentary unease before training reasserted itself. "Deploy according to Eternal Crescent protocols. All ships, power to forward shields." The human vessels accelerated, then performed an impossible maneuver. Each ship briefly separated into multiple ghostly images before reconverging in an entirely new formation. "What trickery is this?" hissed a captain. "Holographic countermeasures," Vexnar dismissed. "Primitive deception. Hold formation." Aboard the Phantom flagship Defiance, Commander Sarah Nakamura existed in a state beyond normal consciousness. Her mind had expanded throughout the vessel's quantum structure, experiencing reality through myriad sensor arrays simultaneously. The ship wasn't her tool, it was her body now. Fractal attack pattern confirmed, she communicated directly to the other 6 Phantom vessels. Neural links connected all 7 ships and their pilot vessels in perfect synchronization. "Commence fractured mirror protocol on my mark." She sensed Admiral Chen's presence in the command node, the only section of the Defiance that maintained traditional controls for non-integrated personnel. "The Valaxians have deployed in Eternal Crescent," Chen observed. "Exactly as anticipated." Nakamura's response came not through words but through a holographic representation of her human form. "Their formation is designed to funnel attackers into a kill zone. It's never failed them." "Until today," Chen replied. "Execute." Nakamura dissolved back into the ship's consciousness. Mark. The battle that followed defied conventional description. The 7 Phantom vessels executed what appeared to be random, chaotic movements, until observers realized each seemingly erratic jump placed them precisely where Valaxian shields were weakest. Aboard the immutable Doctrine, alarms blared as human vessels quantum shifted inside their defensive envelope, appearing momentarily within the forbidden zone where no enemy should be able to penetrate. "Impossible." Vexnar roared as a human vessel briefly materialized inside his flagship's shields, discharged a precision strike against the propulsion system, then vanished before point defense could engage. "Nothing can penetrate phase-lock shields." "They're not penetrating," his science officer realized with horror. "They're partially phasing into a quantum state that exists simultaneously inside and outside our defensive perimeter." Another captain's transmission cut through the chaos. "They're targeting our command nodes with surgical precision. Each strike disables but doesn't destroy." The transmission ended abruptly as the captain's vessel went dark, life support intact but weapons and propulsion disabled. "Order the second wave tow." Vexnar began before the deck lurched beneath him. Main power failed. emergency lighting bathing the command deck in blood-red illumination. "All systems compromised," reported a tactical officer. "The humans are systematically neutralizing our capacity to fight without maximizing casualties." On the strategic display, Vexnar watched his perfect formation disintegrate as ship after ship went dark. Not destroyed, disabled, in a display of tactical precision that made a mockery of Valaxian war doctrine. A transmission cut through the communications blackout. Admiral Chen, her scared face filling the view screen. "Fleet Commander Vexnar, your vessels are disabled. Your crews are unharmed. This demonstration is concluded." Vexnar's mandibles clicked in fury. "This violates all principles of honorable warfare. You strike without proper engagement. Without playing by your rules," Chen interrupted. "Your doctrine was immutable. That was your weakness. Ours adapts." The transmission ended, leaving Vexnar staring at the disabled hulks of his once mighty fleet. Nearly 2,000 vessels neutralized by 7 human ships in less than 20 minutes. For the first time in 6,000 years, the Valaxian collective had suffered a decisive military defeat. In the cathedral's command center, Admiral Chen watched the tactical display as the Phantom Fleet quantum jumped away from Tharsis Prime, leaving the disabled Valaxian fleet adrift. "Casualties?" she asked. "Minimal," Colonel Esparza reported. "We disabled their offensive capabilities while preserving life support." "As ordered." Chen nodded in satisfaction. "Ensure all Valaxian communications channels receive the full battle recording. I want every species in the collective to witness what happened today." Message to accompany the recording. Chen considered for a moment. Just one line. "This is how humans wage war when given no choice." The Grand Assembly Hall on Nexus Prime had once symbolized Valaxian dominance, its towering crystal arches designed to make tributary species feel small and insignificant. Now those same arches were draped with the newly created banners of 17 independent worlds. Admiral Chen walked alone and unarmed at the center of the chamber. Representatives from species that until recently had been locked in generational conflict now sat side by side, united by their recent liberation from Valaxian control. 3 standard months ago, you knew humans only as rumors, a distant species that had vanished rather than face Valaxian might. Chen began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. "Today, I stand before you not as a conqueror, but as an ally offering a different path forward." She activated a holographic display showing Valaxian space, now fragmented with independent systems glowing in various colors. The Valaxian collective maintained power through artificial scarcity, keeping each species dependent while preventing communication between potential allies. They didn't just conquer your worlds, they rewrote your histories to erase your achievements and convince you of your limitations. The Tellerate representative, Nick Stoll, now Minister of Technology for his newly liberated world, rose from his seat. "The humans have shared technology freely, asking nothing in return. Why? What do you truly want from this coalition?" Chen nodded, acknowledging the legitimate suspicion. "A valid question. You've been conditioned to expect that power always demands subjugation. We want something different. Allies who stand as equals." She expanded the holographic display to show the galaxy beyond Valaxian space. "The universe is vast and largely unknown. Humanity believes diversity of thought, biology, and culture creates strength, not weakness. Each of your species perceives reality differently, solves problems uniquely. Together, we can achieve more than any single species alone." The Keldonian representative, her translucent skin reflecting the chamber's light, spoke next. "Yet you possess weapons that rendered the Valaxian fleet helpless. What prevents you from becoming the next empire?" "Nothing but our choice," Chen answered honestly, "and the knowledge that empires eventually fall. Partnerships endure." She gestured, and the hologram changed to show human technological databases opening to all species present. "As proof of our intentions, we offer unrestricted access to our scientific and cultural archives. Knowledge should never be weaponized or hoarded. Murmurs spread through the assembly as representatives realized the significance of the gesture. We propose a coalition of the liberated, not ruled by humans or any single species, but governed through consensus, with each member maintaining sovereignty while contributing to collective security and advancement. The Dracalian elder, his scaled hide bearing the scars of Valaxian control implants, rose slowly. And what of the remaining Valaxian forces? Their core worlds remain under their control. They will not accept this new reality. Chen's expression darkened. No, they won't. Our intelligence suggests they are gathering their remaining strength for a final desperate strike. Not against your worlds, but against Earth, humanity's ancestral home. In the fortress world of Terminus, deep within what remained of secure Valaxian space, Overseer Theric reviewed the deployment of his final armada. The humans have sown chaos throughout our realm. He addressed the remnants of the High Council. They turn our subject races against us. They neutralize our fleets without honorable combat. They corrupt our networks with forbidden knowledge. He activated a secure display showing a massive weapons platform being integrated into his flagship, the Dreadnought Final Argument. If we cannot maintain order, then humanity must not exist to spread this contagion of chaos. Science Minister Zoltak, his carapace now dulled with stress, looked uncertain. Overseer, the planet killer, has never been deployed. Its power is untested. The time for half measures has passed. Theric interrupted. Through captured human operatives, we have finally located their homeworld. We will make an example of Earth so absolute that every rebellious species will immediately return to compliance. He expanded the tactical display to show the assembled armada, nearly 4,000 ships gathered from across the remaining collective territories, representing their final reserve of military power. I will lead the assault personally. We depart in 3 cycles. After the council adjourned, Intelligence Director Vexilon approached Theric privately. Overseer, I must express concern. The humans have anticipated our every move thus far. This level of commitment leaves nothing in reserve. Theric's compound eyes fixed on his subordinate. Your concern is noted, Director. But ask yourself this. How could the humans possibly anticipate that we would risk everything on a single decisive strike? What defense could they have prepared that could withstand the combined might of our remaining forces? Vexilon lowered his gaze. None, Overseer. Precisely. The humans have been cunning, but they have never faced the full fury of the collective. When Earth burns, their resistance ends. What neither Valaxian realized was that the human operative they had captured and interrogated had been carrying precisely the information they were meant to find. The location of a planet that, while appearing to be Earth from all records, had been prepared years in advance for exactly this scenario. In the Cathedral Command Center, Admiral Chen received confirmation of the Valaxian fleet's preparations. They've taken the bait, Colonel Esparza reported. Trajectory calculations indicate they're targeting Sol system. Chen nodded, her scared face solemn. Execute final preparations for Operation Solar Trap. It's time to end this war. The Valaxian armada emerged from FTL at the edge of the Sol system in a breathtaking display of coordinated precision. 4,000 ships arranged in attack formation, their hulls gleaming in the light of humanity's homestar. At the center, the Dreadnought Final Argument dwarfed all other vessels, its planet-killer weapon protruding from the bow like a malevolent eye. On its command deck, Overseer Theric surveyed the system with satisfaction. Long-range scans showed a blue-green world, third from the sun, with scattered orbital installations and a small defensive fleet. Pathetic, he declared. They left their homeworld virtually undefended. Intelligence Director Vexilon studied the sensor readings with growing unease. It seems too easy, Overseer. Easy? Theric's mandibles clicked in amusement. We lost half our empire to these humans. There is nothing easy about this victory. They simply miscalculated, believing we would never discover their homeworld. He opened a system-wide broadcast channel. Attention, humans. Your defiance ends where it began. Surrender or watch your homeworld burn. After a moment, a response came, not from the orbital platforms or the defensive fleet, but from the surface of Earth itself. Admiral Chen appeared on screen, standing in what looked like a simple garden, flowers blooming around her. "Overseer Therok," she acknowledged with unexpected calm. "We told you to watch how war is done. Now observe its conclusion." She touched a small device in her hand. Therok laughed. What threat called? His words died as the orbital platforms surrounding Earth pulsed with synchronized energy. What had appeared to be standard defensive installations suddenly generated an interlocking energy web that expanded outward at impossible speed, engulfing the entire Valaxian fleet before they could react. "What is this?" Therok demanded as ship systems began failing throughout his armada. On the view screen, Chen's expression remained impassive. "Project Artemis. The true purpose of our lunar colonies. The moon, which the Valaxians had dismissed as a natural satellite, began to transform. Massive sections of its surface reconfigured, revealing that what appeared to be a celestial body had been partially converted into a vast machine. Its true nature, hidden beneath a carefully maintained facade of regolith and crater formations, now emerged as the greatest engineering project in human history. Impossible, breathed Science Minister Zoltak. They've transformed an entire moon into a weapon. Not a weapon, Chen corrected. A nullification field generator. The lunar megastructure activated, generating a targeted quantum field that cascaded through the Valaxian fleet. Ship after ship lost power as the field disrupted the specialized technology that gave Valaxian vessels their advantage, the very technology humans had studied and learned to counteract over months of surgical raids. As the mighty Armada drifted powerless, 7 Phantom vessels quantum jumped into precisely calculated positions surrounding the fleet. They were joined by waves of smaller craft emerging from camouflaged positions throughout the system. "This isn't a battle," Chen explained. "It's an interdiction." On the now powerless final argument, Therok watched in disbelief as human vessels methodically moved through his fleet, disabling weapons systems, but leaving life support intact. "You had 4,000 ships," he protested. "How could you possibly anticipate?" "We didn't need to," Chen interrupted. "Operation Solar Trap wasn't designed to counter any specific number of vessels. It was designed to neutralize Valaxian technology itself." She gestured, and the view screen expanded to show the full scope of the operation. Hundreds of human vessels systematically disarming the Valaxian fleet, while evacuation ships moved in to retrieve the crews. "We knew you'd come eventually," Chen continued. "Everything, from the ghost raids that seemed random but actually gathered specific intelligence about your technology, to the knowledge virus that fractured your empire, to the battle at Pharsis Prime that demonstrated our capabilities while preserving our true strength. It all led to this moment." Therok's compound eyes reflected the systematic dismantling of his fleet. "Why not simply destroy us? That would be more efficient." For the first time, Chen's expression changed, a flash of something like pity crossing her scared features. "The difference between us isn't technology or numbers, Overseer. You fight wars of conquest. We fight wars of survival. We never wanted this fight, but we've spent our entire history preparing for it. War has been humanity's shadow since we first picked up stones against each other. We've learned its cost and its lessons, paid for in blood across millennia." The view screen expanded further, showing representatives of the coalition worlds observing the operation. "You chose war without understanding your opponent. That was your first and final mistake. And now the empire you built through conquest will be dismantled through cooperation." 3 months later, representatives from all species of the former collective gathered in a vast assembly hall built among the ruins of the ancient alien city discovered beneath Mars. The Terran Accords were signed, establishing a new galactic council where all species, including the Valaxians, held equal representation and technology, was shared openly under careful ethical guidelines derived from humanity's hard-won lessons. As Admiral Chen watched the proceedings, a young aide approached her. Was this your plan all along? She smiled slightly, the scars on her face catching the light. No, my plan was to ensure humanity's survival at any cost. She gestured to the gathering of diverse species working together. This is what we fought for the chance to build. In the center of the assembly, Nixtal, the former factory worker now representing his species, finalized the protocols for mutual defense and scientific cooperation. The former Valaxian overseer Theric, now serving as merely one representative among equals, added his signature with chastened dignity. The next challenge will be greater than war, Chen observed quietly. Building lasting peace always is. As the assembly concluded its historic first session, the former Valaxian Empire was officially dissolved. In its place arose something unprecedented. A coalition founded not on domination, but on the recognition that diversity of thought, biology, and culture created strength no single species could achieve alone. Humanity's scared warrior leader stood watching as the seeds of a new galactic order took root. The age of empires had ended. The age of cooperation had begun.